Hi, my name is Chris Baker with Baker DMM, and this is our video digest newsletter. Topic of today's newsletter is going to be reconciling. Does it have to be perfect? And before we jump into our discussion, I want to read you a quote. Quote states, "Perfection is not attainable, but if we chase perfection, we can catch excellence." And that was said by Vince Lombardi, who is a Hall of Fame football coach from the Green Bay Packers. And really, to start, I was very fortunate growing up to have a great parents and a great dad. And one thing that he did for me after I got out of high school and before I went to college, one time we were at his house and he educated and trained me on reconciling. And he showed me bank statements and credit card statements, and then basically going through and making sure that his expenses for the month agreed from his check register back to his bank statement. And really just showing me how to do it, the purpose of doing it, and really why do you do it? Just to hold yourself accountable, hold the bank or the credit card companies accountable, and make sure everything's accurate and your money's accounted for. And that's always stuck with me. From that point on up until now, I'm religious about reconciling and keeping up with my check registers and basically where my money's going. And this summer, I ended up having a conversation just randomly one day. I was at Emory University at their OLLI program, which is a educational program for adults 50 and older. And before I went into the class I was teaching, I had a conversation with this older gentleman, and just like you would with anybody you meet that you don't know randomly in the community, we just start talking and getting to know one another. And once I told him my previous career was as a public accountant for an accounting firm, and he kind of laughed and joked, and he told me that just recently he was real pumped up and excited because when he reconciled his checkbook, he got it to within 2 cents, and he just was so happy with that. I mean, he was elated and just couldn't believe it, and he really got a kick out of it. And he went on to tell me that usually his figure is $200. He said, "Look, when I go through and reconcile my checkbook, I just try to get within about $200, and if I can do that, I'm good to go, and I'm comfortable with that." And this guy's background is, I think, in marketing and sales, and he's definitely not your type A, accountant, bean counter, OCD, organized guy. He just said, "Look, I've got a general number that I'm comfortable with, and if I'm near it, I'm good to go, and that's all I need to do." And it just so happened that this time he got within 2 cents, and he was just, amazed that happened. But really, the big takeaway is this guy, he made a great point. And for those of you out there that might not be as anal or OCD or type A, super organized as maybe an accountant would be or other financial professionals, even just by having a number, maybe it's $10 that you're comfortable with, maybe it's $100, maybe it's $500, maybe it's $1,000, maybe it's $10,000. Who knows, depending on what your income is and what your financial position is. I mean, that's going to be different for everybody. We all are in different positions. So you have to figure out what that number makes you comfortable. And whatever that number is, then that gives you a baseline going forward. And then it makes the task a little less intimidating. And you give yourself that leeway and that flexibility, and it won't drive you, up the wall if you're off or if you're not on or if you're under or over. You have that wiggle room, and I think it'll make the task less intimidating. You'll be more receptive to doing it, and it gives yourself some breathing room. And I just thought it was worth passing on that everybody's different. It doesn't have to be perfect. And even as an auditor, if anybody that's out there that has been an auditor, that when you do a financial audit, there are different levels of materiality. And even when auditors go and audit, big companies around the world, even when they audit, it's not perfect. They're never going to get exactly to the penny. They're just making sure that the position, the numbers that are being reported by the company are accurate enough so that people investing in the company are getting fairly accurate and true information so they can make informed financial decisions. And that goes, for the same for us as individuals. So reconcile. The issue here today is, reconciling. Does it have to be perfect? It doesn't. It's great if it is. If you do get perfect, if you get it down to 0 every month and everything balances, that's wonderful. If you don't, that's not the end of the world either. It can be off a little bit, and you just pick a number, figure depending on your financial position what that number is, and go with it. And the key thing here is you want to be doing it. If you're not doing it, if you're ignoring your statements, if you're ignoring your check register, not keeping up with what you're spending per month, and if you're not reconciling it back to your bank or your credit card companies, that's an issue, and hopefully you'll change it and start regularly reconciling your accounts. So if you found this information helpful or interesting, please feel free to share it with your social media channels. It could be your family, your friends, neighbors, or whoever you think might benefit from viewing the information. If you'd ever like to submit a question to us for me to answer in one of our video digests, go to our website, www.bakerdmm.com, scroll to the bottom, and there's a form you can fill out to submit your question, and we'll try to answer that in one of our upcoming video digests. And if you'd ever like to get my help personally, the quickest and easiest way is to go to our website, bakerdmm.com. At the top of the website, you'll find our phone number and a request an appointment button. As well as if you scroll to the bottom, there's a PayPal button that you can also click on and pay for your appointment immediately. And within any of these options, I'll be in touch with you in 24 to 48 hours to schedule our time. And until then, I will talk to you all soon.